Alright everyone, I just saw this article literally just as I was packing up to get something to eat for lunch by TBR Football. Now I don't pay much attention to them, to be perfectly honest, but I saw they referred to David Ornstein, so I thought, oh, this better be worth a quick look, because I'll explain now. If you want two reliable journalists, you want David Ornstein of The Athletic and Paul Joyce from The Times. Paul Joyce will be more connected to like the day-to-day running of the club. So stuff like maybe team selections, transfers, level. You get the idea what I mean. And FSG, so would be news. So if the club was going to be sold, you'd probably hear from David Ornstein, not Paul Joyce. But they're the two you want to follow. Never mind a lot of the other Twitter ITK nonsense and all the garbage on there. Stick with those two, alright? And you will not go far wrong if you're following media for Liverpool Football Club. But this story is in regards to Alexander Isak. So we have been linked with him. Fans want him to come. I've literally did a video earlier today. Like I did a roundup and went through my thoughts on him signing, like things like injuries, contract, transfers. So this has just come in. I've just seen this literally not long after I've done that video as well. But what has Ornstein said? So let's quote his Q&A on The Athletic. Okay? They will obviously have multiple options on their radar, but the only name I've personally heard of so far, which others have already reported, is Alexander Isak. Liverpool aren't alone in liking the Swede. We know Mikel Arteta wants to sign him, Chelsea and Barcelona have also been linked, and I'm sure many other sides would be keen to, if the opportunity arose. But that's a big if. Newcastle have no intention of selling their best player, and understandably don't welcome this kind of conversation. Isak has more than 3 years left on his existing contract, he is very well paid, and there's no financial requirement for the St James's Park hierarchy to cash in. Now, every player has their price, and while I'm not aware of Newcastle specifically setting one for Isak, the number that seems to be circling around the industry is something like 150 million. And that's in pounds. Perhaps if teams are prepared to make such eye-watering offers, there's a conversation to be had. But Newcastle hold the aces here, and their plan will be to build with rather than without him. Liverpool are only going to consider making a move if Isak is genuinely available. They're not the type of club to engage in a wild goose chase, but I do think, and then he's put in brackets, sorry to say this, Newcastle fans, his future will be one of the big talking points heading into and during the summer transfer window. So that's what he said on the Q&A. Now let's break down some of this, okay? So bear with me one moment. Multiple options on the radar. Now we've heard names of Benjamin Benjamin Chesko. I can't pronounce his name today. Has been one that has been mentioned. Some fans are going Cunha, but is that just more fan speculation more than industry speculation? But we have heard other names. But it seems like officially the only one so far that Ornstein knows of is Isak. Liverpool aren't alone in liking him. Well, that's not uncommon. We know Barcelona want him. We know Arsenal are a fan of him. Chelsea as well. And Chelsea do need a established number 9. Arsenal need a number 9. And I believe he's top of Barcelona's shopping list with Luis Diaz second. Now, we've had information confirmed yesterday. Now, one video that went through this was Dunk and Cop Talk. He went through the CEO hierarchy. Or CEO, what's his name? I can't think of his name. But he went through the CEO stuff from Newcastle in a really good analysis of their stance and things. And this is backed up here by Ornstein, because it said Newcastle have no intention of selling their best player. Unless you had to, why would you want to? Or the player wanted to go. And understandably, they don't welcome this kind of conversation. They've pretty much said that, the club. He has more than 3 years left on his existing contract, is well paid, and there's no financial requirement. Whereas last year they had to sell, was it Anderson and Minter? Was it? For PSR reasons. It's, I think, one reason why the Gordon story came about. So, yeah. That sort of goes in line with what their CEO was saying about the requirements from Newcastle. Now, if we go further down, every player has their price, but they do. You may say it's for sale. Something's for sale, but if somebody comes in with a silly offer, you are going to consider it. You could have a £40,000 car that you don't want to sell. You love the car. Somebody comes in with a £200,000 offer. You are going to consider it. It's just how the way the world works. Just because something's not for sale doesn't mean to say you wouldn't consider it if somebody offered something crazy. And that would probably be the offer of 150 million plus for Isak. That would be crazy money. So let's go through. Now, he said if somebody's prepared to make such eye-watering offers, there's a conversation to be had. It's pretty much what I've just said. It's like if somebody came in for Nunes in the summer and offered 20 million, the club are going to go, no, we want more. They come in with, say, 150 million. I'm leading them to the airport. They can go. But you get the idea. Every player has a value. If hypothetically Real Madrid went to Arsenal and offered them 400 million for Saka, they're not turning it down. With the way the financial rules work, you can't really afford to now. Obviously, these aren't going to happen, so sorry, Arsenal fans and whatnot. I'm just using it as an example. You can shout all you want in the comments, I don't really care. It's just an example. It doesn't mean Real Madrid are coming in for Saka. And going back to Ornstein, Newcastle hold the aces here. Well, they do. They don't have to sell. He's under contract. And as far as we're aware, the player's happy. Why would they be in a negative position here? The plan will be to build with rather than without him. He's their star player. He's the one scoring all the goals. He's 25, so he's got a good few years ahead of him. He's probably got close to a decade's worth of top flight football from him to come. Why would they want to sell him? Why not build a team around him? Makes sense. So that also makes sense. And if we go further down, we're only going to consider it a move if he's genuinely available, and we're not going to basically go for a goose chase. Well, good. I don't particularly want another Casado-Lavia situation where we're going in with bids. This bid's going in. This bid's going in. This bid's going in, etc., etc. I would just like to know if the player's available. Can we get him? What will be the fee? Is it doable? Just in general, I just don't really want to be haggling, or the club to be haggling over deals and chasing around. It wastes time at the end of the day, so we could spend like 2 weeks trying to get a deal for Isak, or go for another striker that could do a job and get the deal done in, say, 2 days. It makes more sense. It gets the player into the club earlier. What else did they say? His future will be one of big talking points heading into and during the transfer window. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. He's a big name target. We've seen this with who did we say this with recently in the summer? Well, we saw it with Zubamendi. Will he, won't he? There was lots of speculation. Will he come? Will he not come? And then he didn't. We saw it at the end of one window with Mo Salah, the Saudi bid. Imagine a Salah in his prime becoming available. There would be speculation. It's the same. We've seen it with Neymar when he broke the world record. If Barcelona decided to sell Lamine Yamal, there would be speculation there. Bellingham, we saw it. So Harry Kane moving to Bayern, it was a hot topic. Isak's going to be no different. Article doesn't close here. Which club's more likely to sign him, us or Arsenal? And we've got two names here. Journalist Steve Kay claimed Isak's more likely to join Liverpool than Arsenal in the window. Jamie Carragher says Isak will pick Liverpool over Arsenal. Right. So we've got two claims for Arsenal there. Both sides will have Champions League football next season. We know that. We look at the attacking options Arsenal have. We look at the attacking options Liverpool have. Put loyalties aside. Put your favourite team aside. You're a striker. Do you want to play alongside Mo Salah? Or do you want to play alongside Bukayo Saka? Do you want the likes of Martinelli or do you want the likes of Cody Gakpo? For an attacking player, which coach do you think is going to get the best out of you? Would it be Arne Slot? Or would it be Mikel Arteta? If you're going for those two clubs, you're looking at who's going to be the best fit for the player. I think if we win the league, that holds a bit more weight to it than I'll be joining the Premier League champions over I'll be joining the runners-up. But it's a tough one to call because I'd say he's a profile of striker that would suit both sides. But our goals in all competitions has been higher than Arsenal, so would he get more chances and more chance of success with us than he would at Arsenal? It's a tough debate, really tough debate. Well, at least we have some clarification that the club would be interested, but only if a deal was doable. They're not going to go hoping and praying and battling Arsenal on a wild goose chase to fight him. So that's a good thing in a way. And it sort of clarifies the situation, like what type of player we're looking at. I did a video with some alternatives, so feel free to look that up, to the likes of Isak and Seshko. I did mention earlier today there's other strikers I do like Liam Delap. Only thing is, I think he's young. I don't know if he would be a 20 to 30 goal striker. Then I could use an example. Arsenal brought a French winger in, and he had a potential, but nobody expected him to score tons of goals. And Thierry Henry, we didn't expect when Mo Salah arrived to be the huge success that he has been. We expected him to do well, but not to the levels he did. So players can surprise. Players can also be a complete disaster. Darwin Núñez. So, yeah. Let's just see what happens with this story, but I don't think it's going to be the last we hear of his name. And I think as we get closer to the summer, that speculation is only going to ramp up. It's not going to take long for fans to get hyped up over potentially signing him. To be honest, I don't think they should, because it's not set in stone. There's no guarantees, and as I said previously, we could have a few positions to reinforce in. Meaning, I don't think such a huge outlay on one player is a viable solution at this moment in time. But I don't run the books. I'm not an accountant. I know next to nothing on the financial side. I'm a football fan at the end of the day. I just want to know what we've got to spend. Can we do it? Is it a yes or is it a no? I just got feeling is it's a no. So and also it's not really fair on the player himself. It's not. Newcastle won't be welcoming him either, because they're still pushing for a potential Champions League spot. They've still got a Carabao Cup final to play for. So they don't need the unwanted noise in the background like we have with the contracts. So yeah. Ornstein has spoken on Isak, so I'll stop rambling on. And let me hear your thoughts in the comments on this, because it's a big name, big potential transfer, and I'd love to hear your views on it. I really would. Okay, thanks very much. Take care. Speak to you all later.